Hi, welcome to the special edition of Hannity. A crisis is brewing on southern Florida tonight, days after Republicans Rick Scott and Ron DeSantis secured victories in each of their statewide races. Thousands of new ballots magically appearing, seemingly out of thin air, all in deep blue Democratic districts only. And since election night, over 15,000 new votes have been unearthed in Palm Beach County. Tens and tens of thousands more mysteriously discovered in Broward County, all in violation of Florida law. And now the state is bracing for recounts in both the Senate and the governor's races. Rick Scott, the governor, the senator-elect, will join us in a moment. He is alleging that rampant fraud is at play. And now Broward County Supervisor of Elections, Brenda Snipes, she is facing serious claims of election malfeasance. We'll have a full report on her and reveal her shady past tonight. Plus, we'll have the latest news out of the razor-tight Senate race in Arizona, and we'll call out Conspiracy TV's MSNBC's chief election night anchor after publicly promoting far-left anti-Trump protests organized by the radical group MoveOn.org. We'll also show you how President Trump is responding to crazy Jim Acosta's latest unprofessional behavior. All right, sit tight, buckle up. It's Friday night. Time for our breaking news opening monologue. All right, tonight there are some troubling developments in the great state of Florida. Thousands of uncounted ballots. They're just turning up in Broward and Palm Beach counties only. In other words, only Democratic votes. At least 15,000 votes were mysteriously found in Palm Beach County, and in Broward, it is far worse. On election night, the county reported roughly 634,000 votes, which they are supposed to do. 2 days later, Thursday morning, that number somehow got moved up to 695,000. Then later in the day, over 10,000 more votes just magically turned up. Several thousand more votes were just located hours later. And it continues on and on from there. Magically just keep going up, up, up. Florida state law states, quote, the canvassing board shall report all early voting, all tabulated vote-by-mail results to the Department of State within 30 minutes after the polls close. The law continues, quote, the canvassing board shall report, with the exception of provisional ballot results, updated precinct election results at the department at least every 45 minutes until all results are completely reported. Now, Florida has 67 counties. 65 of those counties complied fully with the law on election night, including, by the way, the hurricane-ravaged areas in the Panhandle. As of today, we had no idea where these votes were coming from. Why were they missing for several days? Where have they been? Why was Florida and federal election laws obviously violated? They didn't pay attention to any of them. We didn't even know how many votes are left. We don't know now exactly. Governor Rick Scott is sounding the alarm, rightly so, along with Marco Rubio. Take a look.
It has been over 48 hours since the polls closed, and Broward and Palm Beach counties are still finding and counting ballots. And the supervisors, Brenda Snipes and Susan Booker, cannot seem to say how many ballots still exist and where these ballots came from or where they have been. The people of Florida deserve fairness and transparency, and the supervisors are failing to give it to us.
And Florida Senator Marco Rubio is also speaking out, warning about a possible attempt to steal this election, tweeting, quote, Broward election supervisors' ongoing violation of Florida law requiring timely reporting isn't just annoying incompetence. It has opened the door for lawyers to come here and try and steal a seat in the United States Senate and Florida cabinet. Now, Senator Rubio's warning must not be taken lightly. It's getting worse by the hour. Tonight, we're facing a serious issue, chain of custody issue with Broward County because, they found 83,000 votes after the initial election night canvass. Here we are 72 hours later. Those votes at this point can't be trusted. There is tight control now over voter access, security, and custody because these votes cannot be traced to the actual voter, the time, the location. The law compels the state to dispose of these ballots. In other words, we have no documented way to know in any way if, in fact, these ballots are legitimate. or where they're coming from. This means, some kind of malfeasance. By the way, nothing new from Broward County or Palm Beach County. Now, the supervisor of elections there, her name is Brenda Snipes. We'll have a full report on her later. She has a long history of misconduct. In August, a judge ruled that Snipes systematically mishandled mail-in absentee ballots. And in 2016, a court found that Broward County broke both state and federal laws by illicitly destroying ballots. But Brenda Snipes wants Floridians to think that their votes are in good hands. Why couldn't she do what the other 65 counties in Florida did? And that is obey the law. Take a look.
It's a serious issue with me. I've been doing this now since October 22nd.
But if it's a
we
serious
ran
issue with
22
you.
sites. We ran 14 days. We ran 12 hours. We had a big vote by mail. So don't try to turn it around to make it seem like I'm making comedy out of this.
I don't think
Okay.
anybody's.
All right.
anybody's
That's
made
how
to
it
make-
sounds.
but the-
Well, let me just...
And she was found in 2016 having violated both federal law and the laws in Florida. Yeah, a long time. Now, thousands upon thousands of votes just go missing for days, and that's all you have to say? Brenda Snipes, she's either corrupt, incompetent, or both. She's obviously not respecting the laws of Florida or, of course, the country. It's been proven over and over again. Nobody will ever know the true validity of this vote. Now, it's impossible. And today, rightfully, angry Floridians were gathering outside of the Broward County election office demanding answers. And just breaking hours ago, a judge ruling Broward County violated the Constitution of Florida. They didn't follow the open records laws and demanded that election officials hand over important details about the newly discovered ballots. The judge also made no ruling yet on the claims of corruption, and the legal fight is far from over tonight. And also tonight, we still have more questions than answers. Earlier today, here's what President Trump had to say about this dubious situation in Florida, which, by the way, this has gone on for years, which we'll tell you about in a minute. Take a look.
Notice the votes never go the other way. They hire lawyers, and the votes don't ever seem to go the Republican way. Although I hear, well, I don't know, you tell me, it's always the Democrats. It's always GPS fusion. It's always crooked stuff. Look at what happened. How many FBI are gone? How many Justice Department people are gone? That I found out. There's a lot of bad stuff going on in this country, and we're finding out, and I'm getting to the bottom of it. And I've done a hell of a job.
Now, the sanctity of the vote is at stake tonight in Florida. All Americans need to be outraged. We send election observers to other countries. We need them in Broward County and Palm Beach County. And, of course, nothing new from the cheating Democratic Party. Just think about this. It's really just a page out of Hillary Clinton's playbook on how to rig or steal an election. Remember when she fixed the DNC, superdelegates against Bernie Sanders and more? Remember, Donna Brazile admitted to such, had to make that uncomfortable call to Bernie Sanders, and made it impossible for him to ever win. It was all rigged. Remember when the Clinton campaign, before the general election in 2016? Oh, yeah, Mark Elias, the attorney for Clinton, the attorney now leading the Democratic cause down in Broward County. Well, don't forget, he's the guy that used Clinton campaign money. They went into a law firm, Perkins Coie. They funneled the money to Fusion GPS. It wasn't about legal bills. It was about creating a dirty dossier full of lies about Donald Trump, by the way, throughout the highest levels of government, then sending that information out to the American people. Why? To malign the candidate, Donald Trump. Why? So they'll get extra votes. Why? To cheat in an election. And don't forget that information was disseminated by the top levels of government. It's practically, at this point, the Democratic motto, when you can't beat them, just cheat them. We'll have more throughout the show. Governor Rick Scott will join us in a few moments. We'll also have an important update on Arizona. We'll tell you more about who Brenda Snipes really is. Now, the Senate race between McSally and Sinema, that's too close to call, but a deal now has been worked out just a few hours ago regarding many of the contested ballots. We'll have an update on that coming up. But first, let's turn to the developing story about a pretty obvious partnership between NBC News and the controversial far-left group known as MoveOn.org. Remember on Wednesday, MSNBC's chief conspiracy theorist, who refers to herself as a journalist, and election night anchor over at NBC, Rachel Maddow, urging her supporters to take part in nationwide anti-Trump protests, tweeting, "It's happening. This is the break the glass in case of emergency plan to protect the Mueller investigation." 5 p.m. local time, protest tomorrow, Thursday, November 8th. We knew this would happen at some point. The day has arrived. And then Maddow also tweeted out a list of the protest locations. And last night, many far-left Trump haters answered the call and participated in the left's break the glass emergency moment that they call it. Anyway, these protests took place in 60 cities, organized by MoveOn.org. So NBC has aligned themselves now with MoveOn.org, the same group that referred to General Petraeus, an American hero, as General Betray Us during his successful surge efforts in Iraq. It's the same group that compared President Bush to Hitler in an ad that was condemned by the ADL. It's the same group that accused John McCain of wanting to send everyone's children to war. And MoveOn.org also partnered with activist Linda Sarsour during the Women's March, a known anti-Semite. And MoveOn funded and promoted the 2016 Chicago protest outside of a Trump rally. That's the one that became violent. It forced the campaign to cancel the event. And tonight, there you have their big star over at NBC News, election night coverage host Rachel Maddow, denying organizing the anti-Trump protest with MoveOn. Well, we just saw the tweets. She's claiming she's merely reporting. No, she's telling people this is the time, the break the glass moment. So give us a break. If reporting that something is happening is the same thing as organizing it, I'm happy to take credit for organizing the new Trump family patent on what, Chinese whatever. Anyway, the resignation of what, Spiro Agnew? That was a tough one, but I'm a diligent organizer. It's total BS. It's a total lie. It's a total con job, just like the lie that she claims to be a journalist. That statement's a lie. Of course, we all know Maddow isn't a reporter. She's not a journalist, even though her network trots her out to be their anchor on election night. She's a Mueller-obsessed anti-Trump conspiracy theorist who's constantly and wrongly predicting Trump's imminent demise. Any second now, it's going to happen. Of course, all part of Russia collusion and the witch hunt with no evidence, but ignores all the evidence we have about Hillary and her bought and paid for Russian lies that, of course, was used to commit a fraud on a FISA court 4 times, used to misinform the American people before the 2016 election, used as part of a media leak strategy to get Robert Mueller appointed, part of the insurance policy. She's whipping her followers into a frenzy. Sadly, with Mueller's probe seemingly coming to a close, well, I guess they're about to be in for a whole lot of disappointment. So, of course, now we have MSNBC and their new partners, MoveOn.org, and you got CNN, fake news, foaming at the mouth over Sessions' departure. Many even claiming that the acting Attorney General Matt Whitaker is going to derail the Mueller investigation. The president said yesterday that's not happening. And while Democrats are fueling more baseless Russia hysteria, more conspiracy theories, President Trump fired back today. When asked if he wants Whitaker to rein in the special counsel, here's what he had to say.
Whitaker to be involved in the Russia probe. Do you want him to,
That's up to him.
Do you want him to rein in Robert Mueller?
What a stupid question that is. What a stupid question. But I watch you a lot. You ask a lot of stupid questions.
Whitaker has a strong record, and that's why the left is rushing to demonizing him. He has been critical of Mueller going too far with this endless investigation. And he wrote in 2016, Hillary, yeah, she's lucky she wasn't indicted. But in no ways is anyone talking about meddling with the Mueller witch hunt. It's going to play out, and when it does, President Trump will be able to move on, if you will, to use a phrase, unencumbered by conspiracy theories aimed at delegitimizing his presidency, although I got to warn you, they're just going to create new ones. They'll be created by Maxine Waters, Gerald Nadler, Adam Schiff, and company. Nancy Pelosi. Finally tonight, before we go, we have an update from the ongoing Jim Acosta saga. As you know, earlier this week, he acted in a completely unprofessional, combative way, even making contact with a White House intern. As you can see there, she's trying to say, your questions are over. The president told you to sit down. How many times does the president have to say, enough, 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 enough? Just rude. Another example of his egregious, self-serving, narcissistic behavior. And now his White House pass, sadly, has been revoked. And Jim's boss, fake news CNN head, is now standing behind his embattled Trump hater, spewing some Trump hate on their own, writing in a statement, quote, the president's ongoing attacks on the press have gone too far. They are not only dangerous, they are disturbingly un-American. And earlier today, President Trump responded to this vile attack against him and Jim Acosta's terrible conduct. Let's listen in.
I think Jim Acosta is a very unprofessional man. I think he does this with everybody. He gets paid to do that. He gets paid to burst in. He's a very unprofessional guy. Whether it was me or Ronald Reagan or anybody else, he would have done the same thing. Look, I don't think he's a smart person, but he's got a loud voice. When you're in the White House, this is a very sacred place to me. This is a very special place. You have to treat the White House with respect. You have to treat the presidency with respect. If you've ever seen him dealing with Sarah Huckabee Sanders, it's a disgrace.
Acosta wanted a debate. He wanted a fight. He wanted something that would help make him a bigger star. President Trump, well, he doesn't respect CNN's ugly coverage, their abusively biased coverage, and that's okay. They don't like when the president hits back. Criticism, by the way, is not an attack on the First Amendment. And by the way, had they acted respectfully, he'd still be in there. But without a doubt, CNN's coverage has been downright obsessive and pretty despicable. Let's take a trip down memory lane. I hope fake news CNN is watching.
Yeah. Stormy Daniels is causing stormy weather.
Porn star Stormy Daniels claims President Trump broke the law, had her bullied.
Does Stormy Daniels have the president's number? It sure seems that way.
President Trump might have met his match with Stormy Daniels.
How is Stormy weathering this?
Stormy speaks.
We're hearing quite a bit from Stormy Daniels.
Every second, every minute, every hour, every day, day in and day out, hate Trump. Yeah, that kind of coverage deserves criticism, especially when so many of the people you saw, they claim to be unbiased, not partisan. They think they're journalists. They're not. When we come back, Governor Rick Scott, Senator Lindsey Graham, all weighing in on today's big breaking news, going down now in Florida. Don't change that channel as we continue.
Good morning and live from America's News headquarters, I'm Jackie Ibanez in New York. At least 9 people are dead in California as wildfires burn through the northern part of the state. The town of Paradise, home to about 27,000 people, practically wiped off the map. More than 6,700 buildings destroyed, most of them homes, as the fire grew to cover nearly 140 square miles, and panicked residents scrambled to escape the fast-moving blaze. Meanwhile, fires also causing mass evacuations in Southern California, but firefighters there are hoping that low winds over the weekend could help them get that fire under control. Throughout the state, the fires are displacing more than 250,000 people from their homes. Utah voters passing 2 new referenda in last Tuesday's midterm election that both face tough opposition from conservative and religious leaders there in the state. The first was a proposition to legalize medical marijuana. Utah now joining the more than 30 states that recognize the plant's medical uses. The second, a Medicaid expansion that will cover tens of thousands of low-income residents. And within the next hour, President Trump will be arriving at the Élysée Palace in Paris for a bilateral meeting with French President Emmanuel Macron. The two leaders are at odds on a number of issues. Stay tuned to Fox News for live coverage of their meeting. I'm Jackie Ibanez. Now back to Hannity.
All right, joining us now to fill us in on the crucial Florida Senate election and what's going on down there, we have Senator-elect Rick Scott is with us. Senator, great to see you. Obviously had a good court ruling. Now let's talk about where we are and where we go from here.
So as you know, I ended the night Tuesday night with a 57,000 vote lead, and now I'm down to 15,000 vote lead. We had to go to court to try to get the supervisor elections in Palm Beach and Broward County to actually do their job. To not violate the law and to provide us information. We won that lawsuit today, so we're looking forward to getting that information. We are, we've hired the right lawyers. We have Gibson Dunn, who argued the case with Bush versus Gore successfully. Their lawyers, Bill Nelson's lawyers, who is basically trying to steal this election, they went to federal court today trying to get the certification postponed. They were not able to do that. So basically tomorrow, my win will be certified by the court subject to a recount, assuming I'll be less than the 40-some thousand votes needed to do a recount. And then we'll just keep going. I mean, it looks like they're going to do everything they can to steal this election. I'm so disappointed in Bill Nelson, a career politician, has been there forever, and all he's doing now is he's hired Hillary Clinton's lawyer to say, and his lawyer said it, I'm here to win this election, not a fair election, not make sure all the ballots are cast. I'm here to win this election. And the word should be, I'm here to steal this election.
That are broken here. Within 30 minutes of the polls closing, by state law, you are supposed to literally have a vote tally in terms of mail absentee ballots are supposed to be counted within 30 minutes. We're also supposed to have observers. We're all supposed to, by law, every 45 minutes there's supposed to be an update. None of that has happened here. And this particular woman that we keep talking about, Brenda Snipes, she has a history of violating Florida and federal law. How is it possible 72 hours later, plus, that we are in a position where they're still dumping ballots, they never report on time, they're not allowing the people to observe as is protocol? How is that possible?
Well, we've gone to court. We've asked the Florida Department of Law Enforcement to investigate, but they've come up in Broward, just Broward by itself, after election night, they came up with 78,000 more votes. We still don't have the information on it. That's why we've gone to court, and another 15,000 in Palm Beach County. No idea how they showed up, when they were voted, anything about them. So we won the lawsuit today. We're waiting to get that information. So it's hard to believe. It just only assume that this is just, you have to assume that they're doing this just for fraud, to try to steal the election.
But there are 67 counties, Governor, Senator-elect in Florida. How come the other 65 counties never have any problems, and the problems always exist in these two counties? And at what point, where is law enforcement, the fact that they would allow 3 full days to have zero supervision? Right. They should have gone in there and shut this place down because, again, they're just violating laws left and right, which she has been found to do. So it seems now, God only knows what they've done in the 72 hours. And by the way, she expressed she didn't appear to like you very much. Seems like she has a strong opinion against you.
Right. Well, clearly she's got a bias, and but my expectation is law enforcement is going to find out exactly what happened. The courts we're winning in the courts, so that's going to help us get to the bottom of this. But look, I won, or the citizens of this state won this election fair and square. I am the senator-elect in this state. We will be certified tomorrow, and we're going to fight every one of these lawsuits, and we're going to win. We're not going to let these liberal activists from all over the country come down here and say, "Oh, we're going to steal this election from somebody that followed the will." We're going to follow the will of the people in this state. We're going to work hard every day, and we're going to win this.
All right. So it's going to be an investigation. This is going to go on, but you're saying by Saturday, you will be declared the winner.
So the first thing will be the certification based on the information that comes from the local supervisor elections. We should be certified as the winner at that point on Saturday, subject to a recount. And then we'll have the machine recount through next Thursday. And in the meantime, any votes that come in from the military, which can come in a little bit later, those will be counted. And then if I'm below about 21,000, then there will be a manual recount after that. But in the meantime, they're going to, the Democrats, Bill Nelson, who can't stand to lose, is just going to file every lawsuit they can, and we're going to have to fight back every lawsuit there is.
Unbelievable. Governor, nobody should have to go through this. And the fact that the history of Brenda Snipes, the history of these two counties, even the Panhandle, 27 days earlier, hit with one of the most severe hurricanes with so much damage. They didn't have a problem. This is unacceptable, and it looks like a banana republic. We send observers over to other countries. We need an observer in Broward County. Maybe we can get somebody to observe from now on. And she cannot be allowed to do this again. I hope we get to the bottom of it. All right, well, watching, Governor. We're going to pay close attention. Joining us now with reaction to the midterm election chaos and much more, South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham is with us. Lindsey, I'm literally watching this as the world is. And we go from 57,000, I'll read it to you, then 38,000, then 30,000, then 21,000, then 15,000. I mean, you can't make this up. And
you can't.
But Florida federal laws are very clear.
Well, the law exists to avoid this situation. You want to account for the vote 30 minutes after the election, every 45 minutes. There's been over 90,000 votes come in after the close of voting, in clear violation of Florida law. It's designed to prevent this situation. Broward County is a national joke when it comes to elections. And here's where Kavanaugh has a lot in common. When it comes to counting votes and confirming judges, there's nothing Democrats won't do to win. They tried to destroy Brett Kavanaugh. It didn't work. They're trying to steal this election. It's not going to work. And I can't wait to get back to work and make sure we put men and women on the judiciary who actually will follow the law. The law means nothing to liberal Democrats. It's all about outcome. And they're not going to win.
Lindsey,
they didn't
Senator,
destroy Kavanaugh, and they're not going to screw Rick Scott.
Senator, Hillary cheated Bernie Sanders out of the nomination. Mark Elias is her attorney. Now think about this. He's the one involved, the money funneled through a law firm. I would argue that we should investigate if that's a campaign finance violation. Funneled through a law firm, labeled as a legal expense, but it wasn't. It was then used to hire Fusion GPS. This is the same Mark Elias. Then, of course, that leads to the Russian dossier. The Russian dossier is disseminated, leaked its contents before the 2016 election. Why? Because they wanted to steal that election by misinforming and propagandizing the American people. Same players, same character, same MO, same objective, win by any means necessary.
Well, look at Brett Kavanaugh. They tried to deny him a place on the court by being deceitful, withholding information from the committee, ambushing him, changing the legal standard. You're guilty until proven innocent. What are they doing in Broward County? They're taking Florida law and turning it upside down to get a result. This liberal activist lawyer, the Clinton lawyer, went to Florida with the purpose of winning the election. Well, the election was held on Tuesday. Bill Nelson was running, not the lawyer. Rick Scott won fair and square. What's going on in Broward County is not fair and it's not square. And we're going to get to the bottom of it. Rick is going to win. But please remember this about 2018. The 2018 cycle is going to be remembered for liberal Democrats doing whatever it takes when it comes to judges and votes to win. The law be damned. In the eyes of liberal Democrats, the law is just something to get around when it comes to winning what you want.
Well, remember, a judge found that Snipes had violated state and federal law. That was the Debbie Wasserman Schultz recount. She just destroyed the ballots illegally. She's not updating every 45 minutes. Which she's supposed to do. She didn't give an accurate number. 30 minutes. All the other counties in Florida, including the Panhandle, did. If this is not stopped, there's no stopping. The level of cheating that will go on will be unprecedented.
Yeah, incompetent and deceitful is no way to go through life. But if the shoe were on the other foot and this was a Republican-held county, they'd be eating us alive right now.
Yeah, media's ignoring it. All right, Senator, thank you. We appreciate it. Coming up, former DOJ official with exclusive details about the Broward County election chief's highly checkered past. Wait till you hear this. It'll blow you away. Rhonda McDaniel, Jason Chaffetz, all with the breaking news out of Florida tonight as we continue. Glad you're with us. Right now, as Florida braces for a possible recount, obviously really bad shenanigans going on there. Broward County, Florida is now coming into focus for its history of utter incompetence, ignoring the law, controversy, especially under the reign of election supervisor Brenda Snipes. Joining us now with reaction, former DOJ official and election lawyer at the Public Interest Legal Foundation, J. Christian Adams, who actually once deposed Snipes, along with RNC chair Ronna McDaniel, and the author of the New York Times bestseller Deep State, Fox News contributor Jason Chaffetz. Jay Christian, let's start with you. So you had a chance to depose her. Let's put up on the screen. We found that she destroyed ballots illegally back in the 2016. That was the primary race. That she had more registered voters than citizens. That she documented reports about cleaning voter rolls and lost the manual on removing dead voters. Now, on top of that, we know the laws that have been broken here, that within 30 minutes of the polls closing, all of those absentee ballots, early voting, all those numbers should have been handed over. They were not. They're supposed to have been updating every 45 minutes. They have not. You see this, one direction, Rick Scott going from 57,000 to 15,000. What do you know about Brenda Snipes?
A lot. The Public Interest Legal Foundation has been fighting her in federal court for over 2 years. It's called ACRU versus Snipes. She was my witness in a federal trial. She admitted that non-citizens vote in Broward County. It's a total clown show, Sean. I mean, she has people on the voter rolls there who were born when Grover Cleveland was president, and she's not removing them from the rolls. She lost the manual, actually, to tell her how to do it. It's a clown show over and over again of incompetence, hiding the ball from the public. She just simply is the worst election official I have ever seen in the United States.
It's worse than that, though. Even the ruling today by this judge, Jason Chaffetz, they're violating the Constitution. We know they violated numerous Florida election laws already up to this point. Nobody intervened here. Why she was allowed to do this after all the previous mishaps she has had. And again, a court said she violated both Florida and federal law in the past. And yet she's still in this position.
When I had her on the stand,
it really is stunning.
Jason, yeah.
I mean, it really is stunning. And look, Ron DeSantis and Governor Scott, they deserve to be able to have people to watch this. What I read, too, is that if there was a ballot that had some sort of question mark, they could literally have an election official fill out another ballot and then run it through the machine to count a vote. And I'm sure it's not a coincidence that every time this happens, it seems to be going in the direction of the Democrats. And they've got to get a grip on this immediately.
When you're talking about that many votes, it's unbelievable. Rana, let's get an update in terms of, do you have enough lawyers on the ground? They sent in Mark Elias. Mark Elias, I know Jason knows him well. He's the guy involved for Hillary Clinton's campaign, Fusion GPS, funneling money through Perkins Coie, hiring, of course, Christopher Steele, phony dossier, disseminated, propaganda, lies, sent out, leaked, so that it would hurt Donald Trump in that election, stealing the election from Bernie, on and on. What's happening here, and can you update us on Arizona, Rana?
So we do have enough lawyers on the ground, Sean, and obviously we had this great ruling today where the judge said that that they were being unconstitutional in the way that they were not being transparent with the ballots. Brenda Snipes. In Arizona, we just also got a good court ruling. We had 2 Democrat counties in Arizona that were continuing to try and fix ballots and cure votes, and none of the Republican counties were doing it. The court ruled today that all the counties get to do that equally, and so that's going to be going on until next Wednesday. That's going to be very good for Martha McSally. But our lawyers have been on the ground. The RNC's on the ground. We have over 300 staff in each of these states to monitor the machine recounts and all of this curing that's happening in Arizona. And we have to do this. It's unfortunate. Listen, it's not incompetency. It's intent. This is corruption. It is election meddling.
Well, we know that.
I don't know where Adam Schiff is because there's cameras, collusion, and election meddling.
The reason we know that it is intent and their desire, because we've got 67 counties in Florida. Great people of Florida. The 65 other counties, they abide by the law. They were reported within 30 minutes. They update every 45 minutes, and they respect both federal election laws and Florida state laws and the Constitution. Now, she has been found to have violated those in the past, and we now have the court decision about having violated them again. And why are there no consequences? How does she stay in this position?
Well, don't forget, Sean, that her predecessor, Miriam Oliphant, was removed by Governor Bush for incompetence. And when I asked her on the stand in the federal trial, how many changes did you make to the personnel of Miriam Oliphant, you know, the woman who was removed for incompetence? How many people did you replace? Guess what the answer was? It was nobody. She kept everybody there, all the people who were screwing it up